Hello everybody, looks like we're getting good audio. Alright, I wasn't going to do a stream today, but then I realized that there's a perfect little encapsulated task that I think I can do all in one session on Felt Tip Circus. So that's what I'm going to do today. It's a super simple user interface. Most of the game doesn't have like proper user interfaces. It just has objects that you sort of interact with, physically with the controllers. But there are a couple of things that I'm going to put in, well, it's sort of halfway between a proper user interface and an environmental user interface, specifically the options menu. I don't want to make those too abstract and weird. I want to make them feel a little bit more like a classic menu. So I've decided, and here's our opening scene. I had the idea last night to put it on the television. So when you start the game, you start out in this play space, and you interact with these toys on the ground in order to start the game, in order to enter the Felt Tip Circus world. And because it's a living room, you've got this TV sitting here, not really doing anything. And before I just had a static image sort of looping on it in the background with like a cartoon noise. And I thought, oh, it might be fun to pick up the TV remote, which is an interactable object, and switch channels and things. And then I thought, aha, we can make that the user interface. So that's what I'm going to do today. And because it's just a flat screen, it's not dynamic. It doesn't change shape based on resolution or anything. We don't have to get into any of the crazy, um, really difficult Unity UI stuff. The pivots and the dynamic resizing stuff. I can do it, but that's usually the time sink for me when I'm creating an interface to the system. So today it's just going to be straight up putting it onto the screen and then using a pre-made piece of code, which I'm going to paste into the chat right now. The Vive GUI input module, which is a nice little bit of code that translates the direction of your hand pointer into a user interface pointer. It's not a terribly complex bit of code, but I had to do this for Euclidean, and I was never satisfied with my own solution. So about an hour ago, I went on a little spree searching for it because I knew somebody had to have figured this out, looking for a better solution. And it turns out that Todd Hooper had done me one or two better, and it's just a nice, clean bit of code. Kyosho, that's a fun alternative way of doing the UI. Also, hi to yourself. Yeah, I think so. In a perfect world, we'd have no UI in the game that wasn't based on something physical. Like originally I wanted to do a little tiny miniature cash register and you would like pull the handle in order to change graphics settings and stuff like that. But I realized that, you know, that can be fun when you're figuring out gameplay, but when you just want to turn the freaking volume down, maybe maybe you just need text on a screen. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'll start out by making a canvas. It's going to be world space. Sorting layer will be default. It will be a raycast object, and the blocking mask will be UI. So we'll start by scaling this monstrosity down. Whenever I make these canvases, I always feel tempted to double check the documentation to make sure I'm not doing something wrong when I have these ridiculously small world scale size. Like they end up being just really tiny. But I'm not, as far as I can tell. Now let's make this 800 by 600. That's roughly the dimensions of this thing, right? Maybe not quite. Eight hundred by 500. Okay, interesting. Now I've got a chat plugin that goes, but I don't see it unless I actually check the chat. So if I'm not answering your questions right away, it's because I haven't checked in a while. I'll just let the questions build up and then answer them all in a go. You could also make it look fancy with animations, though. Have you seen how Bioshock Infinite's main menu works? It sort of zooms around you to different areas of this little map, but you're just using the menu like any other game. I have. I really love that menu system. I especially liked the way that it showed you a little scene with a character and a background texture and possibly part of a skybox, although I can't remember, when you were changing the graphics options. So you could see the immediate effect on a couple of different systems, um, not computer systems, like animation system and like the effect on environment textures. I really liked the way they did it. But um, and if I had more time, I could probably figure out a sort of intuitive way to do it all physically. Um, that was fun to play with and all that, but I don't really want to take chances with the option menu. There's only a couple of options I'm putting on it though. We've got whether or not the tutorial dialogues are going to appear. We've got the general volume, like the system volume. We've got the volume of the music in game, and then we've got the graphics settings, which will just be like low, medium, high, ultra. So I don't feel too bad about missing out on an opportunity to make that small subset of the UI into a typical UI. Okay, now I already made one sprite to go on this TV screen. TV, yeah. Are you embedded in here? What's going on? Okay. So this is going to be my background, and I'll probably chop that polygon out of the actual television model later. That feels vaguely LCD-ish to me. So I'll make sure that you are a raycast target, and yeah, you're fine. All right, let's make a button. What am I going to make first? Yeah, I'll make a button. I'll make the button for the graphics. And I'm going to make this look like one of those kind of crappy low-res TV menus, that you click through with your remote. So it's going to be really blocky and all monochrome, just to, you know, you won't be interacting with a physical object, but at least you can kind of pretend that it's still part of the world and not not me breaking into the game world with a user interface. I'm drinking pop today, by the way. I decided to reward myself last night and walk to the store and get a Pepsi. Okay, we're going to call you graphics options button. And we're going to need a sprite for this. Now, I think I have a sprite sheet going already. Is this? Yeah, this is what I'm using for the tutorial dialogue. And you know what? I'm going to start a new one. I'll just keep it clean. Oops. And we'll make you kind of small because this is going to be low res. All right. So the first thing we need is a cursor. And I'm just going to make that a little block. We'll put you over here. Boop. Okay. And the next thing we need is a button. And that'll just be a little 9-sliced thing. Actually, don't need it to be that big, do I? It can just be that big. All right, that'll do. Save you as TV Sprites. Set your import type to Sprite. You will have multiple sprites. Okay, good. You will be TV Sprites cursor, and you will be TV Sprites button, and we'll give you a border. Is that 7 pixels? 8? We'll say it's 8. I should have been paying attention in Photoshop. Okay, and while we're in here, we're going to turn filter mode to point because we don't want this smoothed out. Okay, button. Okay, I already have a font picked out for this actually. This is going to be our font. I'll make it nice and big so you can see. That feels vaguely TV menu to me. It's not perfect, but it's free. That's always important. I'm going to do some soldering while listening and half watching. Okay, be careful. What was the catalyst for the new UI idea? Came to you in a dream, hit your head, caffeine-induced hallucination? I don't do caffeine that often. Today's an exception. No, I was just messing around with the game. I'm putting tutorials in, like little pop-up tutorials and things like that. And I've been, I already have a physical interface in there, and I knew I was going to need an options menu, and I just decided that the TV was a good spot to put it because I don't want it to be so abstract that people don't know where to do these simple things. So, and the TV was already in the game. So it was a case of turning around and seeing it and thinking, oh, like this is something fun to play with. You could put like different channels on it, and then realizing you could also put the options menu on it. Okay. We'll make you nice and big. Let's say 350 by 150. That's too big. $250 by 80. Okay. And text we'll make white as well. We'll make you bigger. We'll make you 64. Why not? Make this nice and big and ugly. I like it when I don't have to worry too much about design. I don't have to worry about making this pretty. By design, it's just going to be functional. All right. And by default, what graphics options do I have? I've already got these set up. Low, medium, high, max, and ultra. Okay. So there'll be 5. The max and ultra is a little bit ridiculous, but that's okay. People still understand what it means. All right, so we'll start you out at ultra, and then we need just a bit of text saying what the hell we're doing here. Graphics. We'll put you at 50, 60. Graphics, text. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with tutorials. And the options are going to be on and off. And tutorials are just these little, well, this isn't one, but it looks like this, where if you put your controller over something, a little bit of text pops up telling you exactly what to do. You know, like select this to enter the game or whatever. They're on by default, but you'll be able to turn them off right here. Okay, whatever, we're not going to worry about it for now. What did I say? We need graphics tutorials, we need volume, and there was one more. I've already forgotten it. Probably should have written this down. Okay, but we know we need volume. Oh, music, that's right. We need volume and music volume. So I'll make the volume one of those squares with a box inside that goes bip, 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 bip. So I'll make that a scroll bar. I'll give it the same background. 300 by 80. I'll make it a little bit smaller, 300 by 40. And then the handle. Okay, I'm not going to use the cursor sprite. I'm going to keep this separate, just in case I decide to change it later. Okay, save that as scroll bar handle. TV sprites handle. Oops. Okay, that needs to be smaller. Where do you set that? Here. Let's say 075. Okay, and I'm gonna make this go bip bip bip. Gonna make it discrete instead of continuous, rather. Bip 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 is the technical term for discrete. Okay, so that'll work like that. Volume. And then finally music text. Okay, it's not like perfectly aligned yet, but that's a good start. Now these are both going to be set to max by default, so I'll just bump that up right away. You could have the volume be like the volume bars on old TVs. Volume bars on old TVs. Do you mean like where they have the lines? You know, like sort of like thermometer lines with an arrow on either side? I could do that. Thing is that those would usually show up at the bottom of the screen and it would be exclusive. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to do that, but I do think I'm going to put little arrows on either side. I think that's how I'm going to make you turn it up and down. It's not exactly what you're talking about, but it's more in keeping with the theme. So I'll make some little arrows here. No, I need to make it 5. Um, okay. So let's add those. TV sprites, right arrow. I always get my right and left mixed up when I'm making sprites for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it is. I have the same trouble sometimes in real life when I'm trying to mirror something, but it's not quite the same problem. All right. Left arrow, make native size. Yeah, that's cute. See, that's cool. Again, it's not quite the same as the old school TVs, but it kind of works. And it's a little more fun than just clicking inside of it. Okay, so we'll make you, these shouldn't be images though, these need to be buttons because I'm going to need to interact with them. Yeah. Music, left button. There's no text. Music, right button. You can already see Unity setting up the automatic navigation, although we won't be using that at any point. Okay. We'll duplicate you and make you volume. And do we want to do anything with the highlighting? I think we do. In all cases, in all our buttons, let's make the highlighted color just a shade of green for now. And forget about the pressed color. Okay. I remember Monkey Island 3 had a 3D accelerated option. Some old TVs have that kind of volume slider anyway. That might be a bad case of foreshadowing. I think Titanium, I think you're making a joke, and I think I'm too dim to get it about the bit with foreshadowing. You're going to have to be a joke explainer and help me out. All right, so this should react to mouse clicks and things by default. The problem is we're not using a mouse. We are using Vive controllers. So before I do anything else, I'm going to create our Vive input thingamajig. I'm not going to get into how this thing works because, again, although the actual code itself is not very complicated, understanding how the input modules work for the Unity UI is complicated. It was a real pain in the ass to figure it out for Euclidean, and I don't really want to get into it on a stream, so I'm just going to wave my hand and say magic, and check out that link I posted earlier for a link to the GitHub with this script in it. Okay, cursor sprite. I'm going to set that there. Controller camera. No, that's going to be automatically generated. Okay. So with just that, this input module is going to find controllers and use them as a point of origin for the raycast that the UI system needs to tell if something's being moused over or not moused over or clicked or whatever. So now all I need to do is play this and try it out with a controller. Now, I don't want to be putting on the HMD every time I need to try this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over there, I'm going to grab the controllers, and then I'm going to change the positioning of this play space so that it works for me sitting in this chair. And then I can be lazy and I won't have to get up. Okay, stand by, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put the HMD up here so that we're not staring at the floor. It won't really be necessary for the testing because we'll be able to see it highlighted in the editor window, but it'd be nice if it's not just at the ground. Da-da-da. Come on, pick me up. See where it's putting us here. You can tell that some of this art is still temp. Oh, there I am. There's my little controller. So I want to be roughly here. Hello. Okay. Now, if I set everything up right, I'm not positive that I did. This should... I should be seeing a cursor. Let me get right up in its guts so I know I'm pointing in the right direction. I am. Oh, look at that. There it is. Isn't that nice? Boop, boop. Now, I can set it like that, but we're not going to do it that way. I'm going to disable that, and we're going to force you to use the buttons. Okay. So it works. Like, on a basic level, we have input going into the system. So now we need to link it all up so that it actually does things. Monkey Island 3 was a point-and-click 2D game. Monkey Island 4 is a full 3D game, but they usually put a joke option in the options menu. Oh, well, right. Is Felt Tip Circus going to be available on the Vive's launch? Yes, it is. It is. It's going to be a launch title. All right. Television. We're going to create a new script called Television. Technically, it's the options menu, but I'm not going to get fancy about naming this one. Okay. Okay, good. All right, here's our television. And I'm just going to make this where we store the options. I mean, why not? So it's the nice thing about doing a simple game is if you want to be a little bit sloppy, just a little bit, and say put your options in the actual options like menu controller, it's okay. because it's not going to get lost under an avalanche of other scripts. The options aren't complex enough to really require any kind of interdependent management with other objects. So, all right, the quality setting is stored by Unity itself, so we don't need to store that. The volume setting is stored by the audio listener. So all we need is the music volume, which is that by default. And then we're going to need some functions for these things to call. So we'll say void graphics button click, void tutorials click. Why am I adding spaces in my parentheses? I don't do that. And then we're going to be clicking up and down for the volume. So volume up click, music up click, music down click. What else have we got? That's it, right? Graphics, tutorials, volume, and music. All right, then we're going to have a little... Okay, every time we click a thing, click, clip, we're going to play an audio sound, so we'll put that in here. And every time we click a thing, we're going to refresh. That's just how I typically like to do things. And what are we going to need to change? We're going to need to change the graphics text using Unity Engine UI. We're going to need to change the tutorials text, and we're going to need to change the volume sliders. Right? I don't think we need to change anything else. All right, volume up and down are easy. Audio listener. No, we want to change the volume slider value and then copy that over to the audio listener and refresh. So the volume slider value minus equals, we're doing 10 discrete steps, so it'd be 0.1 plus and minus. Same with the music. Oh, okay, that's easy enough. And then in refresh, we will say audio listener volume is our volume slider value. Audio listener volume controls global volume. The volume slider will like sort of sanitize input and make sure it doesn't go below 0 or anything. So that should be safe. And then our static music volume value will be our music slider value. And while we're here, we'll play our click clip. Beep, 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 beep. All right. Sometimes you just got to program a TV. It's true. Sometimes it's necessary. Less and less these days, though, since I watch more and more on my computer. Also, those smart TVs freak me out, man. All right. Click clip. Now I have a billion little audio beeps here. There's a couple clean beep. I like that one. Double clean up. Yeah, we'll just use that one. Okay, graphics text. That's going to be the text inside of the graphics button. I'll link that up now. Tutorials text, same deal. Volume slider. Oh, apparently slider is not what I thought it was. Scroll bar. But presumably value is the same. Okay, volume scroll bar, music scroll bar. Okay, let's try this out. Oh, I forgot to permanently move. The Vive controllers turned themselves off now, which is super handy. You know, the battery life on them is so much better than it was on the dev kits with the rechargeable batteries in them. It's really nice. Okay, so these aren't going to do anything yet, but this should. Oh no, what am I doing? I haven't linked up. I haven't linked up the events yet. So I've written the functions, but I haven't linked up the events. So what we need to do is, first of all, I need to shut these guys off so that they are not a raycast target, because we're not going to be clicking these, the scroll bars. We're only going to allow the player to click on the arrows. And then on these buttons, we need to use Unity's weirdo event system, which I frankly don't like, but I've long ago learned to stop fighting Unity and just do what it wants. You know, so they have their own little internal event system. That's what I'm going to use in order to send interface events. Whenever I fight them, they just hurt me. So, all right, our target is going to be TV canvas, and the function is going to be, what is this, music left? Well, I named these stupidly, because what does left mean? It should be music down. Okay, that's a little less confusing. Volume up, music up. Okay, now we're talking. So music down, we're going to target TV canvas, and we're going to do television. Oh, do these need to be public? I guess they do. It's not like send message. Oh, the amount I want to have one of those Vive units. They're pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. Oh no, what have I done? Oh, no, it's fine. All right, come on, pick it up. There we go. So we're on music down, we want music down click. On music up, we want music up click. Same with volume down. Volume down click. Volume up. Volume up click. Okay, and you can also add audio events in here, but I don't like to do audio in there, especially when it's all going to be the same exact sound. On Euclidean, I did all of the audio and graphics events using their event system, but you know, here if I don't have to use it, I'll avoid it. Okay. Oh, all right. Before I do anything else, I'm going to copy the position of this, and then I'll paste it so that doesn't have to be the first thing I do every time. Okay. So now when we click the volume up and down, we should see those behaviors. Missing component exception. There's no audio source. I didn't add an audio source. Okay, spatial blend can be 2D. Well, we'll make it 3D. Why not? And I won't make this actual 3D audio. I use a 3D audio plugin called 3Dception, which makes I just forgot the bloody term for it. Well, it calculates bounces and stuff like that, and the delay between one ear and another, and it makes 3D audio sound incredibly real. But I won't bother with that in this case because it's going to be a beep coming off a TV. Okay, here we go for real this time. We're going to hear a beep and the volume's going to go down. Yay! It should keep going down. Right, because I didn't call refresh. We're going to get this eventually. Didn't call the refresh function. We'll paste those in there too. Now, I'm sure if any of you out there have programmed your own systems, like you're probably just gagging at me getting the audio source every time we do, we call a click function and stuff like that. Like I should be storing the component and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I just don't care. I learned not to care. When I cared, I would end up with big, ugly systems. When I just keep it as simple as possible and I don't worry about that sort of thing, systems are lightweight. And then later, if I'm hitting a performance bottleneck because I'm getting a component too often, which won't be the case here, later I can go back in and change it. Okay, we're getting a null reference exception. What's that about? Well, I thought we set music. The music's no, I guess I didn't set the music slider. That's weird. Whatever. Okay, so that we're gonna call that good because that worked. I could hear the audio listener's volume going down. Now we're gonna do tutorials. When we click on the tutorials, this is real simple. Tutorials on equals not tutorials on. Do I already have? I might already have a static. I already have a static value defined in tutorial dialog. I do. So I don't even need to store this locally. Tutorial dialog to show tutorials. So that's where I'm getting that value. Equals not tutorial dialog show tutorials. Spelled that wrong. Okay, that's that. Because all we're going to do is toggle it. And then here, what is it? Tutorials text. When we refresh, equals tutorial dialog show tutorials on off. All right. Now, when we let me just add a start function. Where I'm just going to set all of these on startup to make sure that we're actually displaying the values on startup that exist. I think this is true by default. It is, but we'll just be sure that way. Okay. Did I set up this button? I don't think I didn't do it yet. Okay, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited about the prospect of finishing this in one sitting that I'm kind of not. I need to pay attention. Stay in the moment, man. Tutorials button click. Okay. Spatialized. Thank you. Oh, that was driving me nuts. Um, I likely won't have money to get one for a year or two. So jealous. I take an old dev kit even someday. You might be able to get a hold of an old dev kit because I have an older dev kit. I know I'm going to be holding on to it for a while because I have other things to mess with the controllers and stuff. But if a game studio had two or three of the old dev kits and they get two or three pre's, which I believe is the case, I think they matched them one for one, then they're basically going to have a bunch of useless Vive sitting around. And the old dev kits are nothing to sneeze at. They're pretty cool. I mean, the pre is a lot smoother. It's a lot better, but it's not unusable. It's not like DK1 to DK2 or anything like that. Um, I built an HMD that holds my phone, and watching videos on that is great. I need better lenses, yeah. And my phone screen is not so great, but still. What, did you like Google Cardboard it or um, did you actually did you find the lenses somewhere? That's quite a project. Can you put me down as the first person you'd sell that old one to someday? I'm not going to promise anything like that because I haven't looked into um, like as soon as you ask that, I realize I need to ask Valve what the situation is with the old dev kits. I haven't read the fine print, so there's every possibility that I just said something that isn't the case. That in fact the developers will be required to return the original dev kits at some point. I don't know if that's true either. I'm just saying um, I don't know what's going on, if I'm honest. Uh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fancy menu, sir. Thank you. Super fancy. I'd still rather have a choice of slider as well as buttons. Volume and music seems a bit unintuitive. I keep thinking general volume and music. Is it just me? Oh, well, we have a little bit of room at the bottom. That's a good point, actually. It is a little confusing when you think about it. So, is that everything? No, where's the music? There we are. We have a little bit of room. I'm going to move that down, and then this is what I'm going to do. And you know what? I'm going to make the text just a little bit smaller. No, I can't. I can't make it smaller because otherwise these guys will look. No, it's matching right now, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to move these a little bit up. And later when I'm all done with this, I'll probably go back in and clean it up just a tad. Make sure everything's perfectly aligned. But for now, I'm not too concerned. Okay, so vote in the chat. Do you think this is clearer than the previous version where I just said volume music? What is up with this E? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It looks like a capital E, only in a lowercase size. Is this a problem with the rasterization? Or is that built into the font? No, it's just built into the font. I don't like that. Don't like that at all. I took the lenses out of an old pair of binoculars. Turns out the right sort were in there. The far-end lenses work decently. The cardboard app I didn't bother with. Just some apps on Google Play for various things. Yeah, cardboard is garbage. I was shocked at how bad it was. I knew it was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be... I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I almost went cross-eyed using it for 10 minutes. I can't believe that so many people are experiencing that form of VR before any other kind of VR. But I'm impressed that you were able to use binocular lenses and get like a usable result. That's impressive to me. I like this better. Okay. I set it up as another monitor on my PC with some fancy software, then played a bit of Half-Life. You played Half-Life 2 on a custom HMD made out of binocular lenses. You need to put this on the internet. The delay was bad, no proper sensors, just using the phones, and it looked like crap, but it was still a fun experiment. Did you get sick? Like, maybe it was bad enough so that you never were able to sort of fool your brain into the idea that you were seeing it. I don't know. That's crazy. It's hard to make a nice lowercase. Well, all they're missing is one bloody pixel. Look at this. I mean, I shouldn't be complaining. It's a free font, but I'm still irritated. I might have to crack open my font editor and just put that in. All you need is that one little thing, and then it'd be fine. What's the dealio? Oh man, I'm tempted. No, revert. I'm tempted to do this. You know, I kind of hate that even worse. I hate this font, I think is the problem. So I'm gonna find what, the more I look at it, I really just grab this out of my font collection without looking too closely because I'm noticing all these little choices, like to remove a pixel there, and at the H, it looks like dead pixels. How did I not see this? Oh man, when I don't look like directly at it, it's like my brain sort of fills in those holes and I don't even notice that it's there. It took the E to really make me pay attention. Ugh, ugh. All right, we're gonna fix that at some point. Even with the terrible quality, I still had a sense of being there. No motion sickness, but a slight headache. Well, man, I hope you get a chance to, try like the Vive traveling show, or, I think they're offering Gear VR demonstrations at stores that sell the phones. Uh, Basically, if you haven't yet, anything to get you using like a real, uh, like a proper VR device, anything. It's almost giving me anxiety thinking about you only using this binocular HMD. Look at the S and the P. Yeah, look at that P, man. That P is messed up. This font. Okay, if anybody out there can recommend a good like system style font that uses roughly the same pixel dimensions but doesn't have all these funky please nobody stylistic decisions, just let me know. Send me a link. I'll import that one instead. Pixel DLC, $3.99 for extra. Oh God. I've got an upgrade from my phone coming and might get a Gear VR compatible phone. Cool, cool. They are expensive. I mean, I can't even afford a phone. I have what is this thing? Where's the model number? Freaking phones. Well, I don't know what it is. It's this one. It's the step right below being able to use it for Gear VR. And I had to get a contract to afford this thing. Ugh. Indie dev. Not a lot of money to throw around. Okay, where were we? I was just setting that function for the tutorials options button, and we were going to test it. And I got distracted by the binocular. Okay. Oh, well, that works well enough. I don't really like the way that, and this is a problem with Unity's interface system. It's not anything we did wrong. But the mouse over color, I hate the way it stays. I hate the typical behavior for the mouse over color, and it's a pain in the ass to change. We change it for Euclidean because we had a lot of fancy effects going on. Well, not a lot, but it was nicer than this, of sort of morphing effects with the buttons and stuff, and it was worth our time to change it. But in this case, I'm just gonna change this to a mouse over instead of a hover, so that you still get a little bit of feedback, but you don't get that sort of confusing permanent color, which I don't like. Okay, and then we got to go in here, and we got to play our one shot. Okay, now the next thing is to set the graphics options. And this is like slightly more complicated, but not too bad. Our current graphics option, it's a number and it's stored in quality settings, which is a Unity class. And I believe we just get quality level. So and I believe it sanitizes its own input, unless I'm totally remembering wrong. I guess we'll see what happens. So I think we can just, oh, except I'm going to need to auto wrap this. So is there a max quality setting? Does it let us know, or do I have to make that a magic number? I think I just have to make it a magic number. I'm going to verify. I believe it's 5, 0, 1, 2, 3. And if I want to keep that, I think I do want to keep that. Okay, so we'll just wrap that automatically. And then we'll refresh. And when we refresh, come on. All right. And what we're doing is we're setting the text to match the quality setting. So if it's 0, it's going to be low. Oh, what am I doing? I always do that. Medium, high, max, and ultra. It's ridiculous. Okay. Now, this should just cycle through, unless I did some like obvious weird error. Oh, Lord help me. Lord help me. Why isn't it running, guys? What's the problem? What could I possibly have forgotten to do? What is going on there? I don't understand. It's like, is it downsampling the GUI textures? And is that resulting in, that would be odd. Well, why don't I just, I feel like changing the texture quality, oh, it's generating bitmaps. Why would it do that for a sprite? That's weird. Is that common practice by default to generate bitmaps for a sprite and uh, have the resolution be halved along with all the other textures? That seems like it should be off by default. Oh, here we go. Hey, now we're talking. Now the question is, what is the licensing on this fella? You always gotta be careful. You don't want to use anything that To hell with it. I'll check it out later. For now, I'll just add it. I'm kind of surprised I don't have one like this already, to be honest. You know, my font library isn't huge, but you'd think. All right, let's set that right away and just see what that looks like. I may end up not being able to use it once I investigate the licensing. But oh, that's so much better. That is so much better. Oh, it's funny how much better that is. Oh, that just makes me happy. I like that so much better. Who gave that to me? Corley MJ. All right. Yeah, that makes me happier. If I don't use that one, I'm going to use one similar to this. I just like the way this one feels a lot more. Um, okay. So now I'm going to turn commit mapping prevents that weird border problem from happening again. Low, medium, high, max, ultra. Draws on off. And the music volume, we won't. Can I make the hitbox bigger on that? Okay, also, somebody else was saying that they would prefer to be able to just click in here in addition to using the arrows. I'm going to take another vote on that because I'm a fan of purity when it comes to those sorts of things. Like, there's one way to do it, and that's just the way to do it. But if people think I'm being stupid about that, I will gladly re-enable the ray casting on the slider so you can just click in the middle of it. Although that will necessitate adding another function, won't it? But that's easy enough, isn't it? I'm just going to add it right now while I'm thinking about it. On volume change. Why did I just do that? I did that almost like with muscle memory. Created a bool called refreshing. Am I trying to create a loop, like avoid a loop? I think I am. That's creepy when you catch yourself doing something. Why am I doing that? I don't think I need that. Because I'm not actually setting the volume in refresh. I was getting ahead of myself. Okay, on volume change. All we have to do is play a sound and refresh. Because this will take care of copying the slider value into the audio listener value. Okay, we'll do on music change as well. Okay. So if at some later point we decide that we want to enable that and say to hell with purity, this will already be set up to go. On music change, okay. I'm a fan of making UI as user-friendly as possible. Let the user do it his way. Make it work with the arrows and by moving the slider. My vote is that it makes no difference to me. It's weird how max is a lower setting than ultra. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. The term, okay, so maybe you can all help me decide on a term for this as well. There's low, medium, and high, right? But the thing is, I want 5 settings. Each of the 5 settings is sort of created to work on a different kind of system. And so I want the low and medium high to clearly be, like if you hit the high, then you're in good shape. And if you're on medium and low, well, you know, you're getting a little rough. Max is supposed to be like where all the options are turned on to the max that I would prefer. Ultra is supposed to be like, okay, this is ridiculous. You don't really need to go this far, but if you really, really want to, this option is available. So I'm not sure what to call those. Ultra gives me a feeling closer to the concept that I'm going for than Max does. So that's why I put them in that order. But I use mouse wheel on all scroll bars. Well, there's no mouse in this case. It's entirely controlled by the hand controller. So we don't have to worry about that option. Um, yeah, what the hell? All right, I'll turn it on. I'll turn it on. If anyone has any good arguments against, I'll hear them out. But I have a feeling there isn't really a good argument against. And let's see what happens when we change that. I'm not positive that's necessary, but okay. So a couple of interesting things are happening here. I'm going to mute the audio real quick so we don't blow out our ears. Okay, I thought by looking at the steps that something was wrong, but it's not. It's fine. First of all, we're not going to do highlighted color. We're going to do pressed color. And then we're just going to have, a little timer that prevents us from blowing out our ears here. What am I doing? Yeah, that should be plenty of time. Okay, so that'll prevent it from playing more than 4 times a second. I think that should be a comfortable amount of beeps. We'll see. Let's see what happens right now. And if I drag it, that's fine too. Okay, that works. Good enough. Good enough. Yeah, timer. Low, medium, high, very high, ultra. Nah, I don't like that. Max, ultra, up to 11 in that order. I mean, we could make a joke about it. Maybe that's the way to do it. Just make it's already kind of funny, but like I don't know. Low, medium, high, max. I hate stuff like this. I hate these. It's these things. The things are like no obvious answer that take the most time when you're doing stuff like this. You know, like actually setting up this interface took no time, but I can tell that if I let it, this would take me like 15 minutes of intense concentration before I settled on a version that I actually like. Hmm. well, I'm not going to worry about it for now. The interface works. The exact choice of words to describe the quality settings isn't going to affect the functionality of the interface. So I'm going to call that task finished. And I did, in fact, do it in one sitting. That's very exciting. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. It's nothing special, but I think when you spawn into this world and you see that you have some options to play with on the TV, that's going to be fun. Oh, you know what I'll do is real quick, I'll just check to make sure that the tutorials are actually controlled by that option. Music I'll have to link up later, but I can check that right here, right where I'm sitting. So first I'll leave the tutorials on, and then I'll move this little fella close to me, because this is the first tutorial that you encounter. So get in my field of view, buddy. This is a tutorial for the scorekeeper, which is simple, but it's not an easy thing to figure out when you're in the middle of a game. So, oh, I'm overlapping with this guy. You go away. We don't want confusion. Okay. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Okay. So that works. Now, this is so hard when you're not in the game. What am I pointing at? There we go. Tutorials off. Okay, now let's see if we get tutorials. Okay, they're not showing up. It's on the hidden layer now. We can see them here, but they're not showing up. Okay, so that works. Yay! When people turn up the settings, I think they'll stop at max instead of going up to ultra. That might be true. All right, we'll see. I'll decide something. The first time you get to play this, you can go through the options and see what I came up with, and either praise me for being brilliant or laugh at my stupidity, depending on how well I do. All right, that's about it for today. I'm gonna be doing some other really boring stuff after this, so I'm not gonna stream it. But thanks for dropping in. I hope it was informative. And if you have any questions, you have approximately 30 seconds to ask them before I shut off the stream. So let's see what happens. Probably nothing. Yeah, the next thing I have to do is go through and test the tutorial dialogues in like every possible combination of like overlapping colliders and stuff. It's going to be a real drag. So, okay, sounds good. See you, Flint Steel.